For generations, you have been led to believe that success depends on luck, talent, or external circumstances. You have been conditioned to think that some are born with privileges and others are not, that wealth is reserved for a minority. Yet, according to Socrate mind, it is not the outside world that determines your destiny, but the quality of your inner thoughts. What you think every day, what you believe to be possible or impossible, becomes your concrete reality. Modern society, saturated with distractions and comparisons, pushes you to seek outside what can only be born within: mental clarity. This hidden secret is that you are your own creator. Your mind shapes your world. If you believe you're destined to fail, you will unconsciously do everything to validate that belief. If you decide that you are capable of transforming your life, your brain will start looking for evidence of that possibility. This is not magic, it is a mental law. Socrate mind teaches that the first step towards wealth is not financial, but mental. It involves examining your thoughts, questioning them, and dismantling those that limit you. Know thyself, said Socrates, for he who knows himself becomes free from illusions. If you want to change your life, do not seek a new opportunity, seek a new way of thinking. As long as you remain a prisoner of your old belief system, you will remain in the same reality. The secret that has been hidden from you is that the deepest poverty is not material, but spiritual. It is the absence of self-knowledge. Socrate mind explains that true poverty begins in the mind, long before it manifests in material life. These phrases are invisible chains that condition actions and limit growth. Work hard, but never to think right. However, true power, the kind that attracts opportunities and transforms reality, lies in mental clarity. As long as your mind remains saturated with doubts and self-criticism, you unconsciously push away everything you say you want. Socrate mind urges you to ask the fundamental Socratic question: why do I believe what I believe? This simple inquiry acts as a key. It reveals the beliefs inherited from your environment, your education, and collective fear. You then understand that success does not depend on your past, but on your ability to question the ideas that have confined you. The first step towards freedom is clarity. As long as you believe that others hold your power, you will remain dependent. Every outcome you call chance is actually just the consequence of unconscious reasoning. The external world is merely a mirror. If you want to change your reality, you must start with your mind. Their thoughts are automatic, inherited, repetitive. They believe they are thinking, but in truth, they are subjected to the thoughts of others, society, the media, and their parents. That is why Socrates said that true wisdom begins when one becomes aware of their ignorance. As long as you do not observe your thoughts, they will direct you. When you practice mental awareness every day, you reconnect with your creative power. You are no longer a victim of the world, but an architect. The undisciplined mind spends its energy on fear, comparison, and regret. The conscious mind channels it towards creation. It is not poverty that destroys a man, but the fear of losing what he knows. The majority remain trapped in a mental safety zone, believing that stability protects while it paralyzes. The mind seeks the known, even if it is painful, because the unknown is frightening. You have been taught to value the security of salary, the stability of daily life, social certainties, but not the courage to evolve. It is by confronting doubt, fear, and rejection that you rise. Socrate mind teaches that inner freedom arises from detachment, knowing that you need nothing to be whole, and that all wealth is an extension of your mindset. Security does not truly exist. So why live as if your existence depended on an invisible net? It prevents you from seeking, learning, and questioning yourself. True wealth is the ability to live without fear of loss. Many confuse freedom with impulse. They believe that being free means doing what you want when you want. Socrate mind teaches the opposite. True freedom is self-control. It is the ability to do what is right, even when you don't feel like it. A man who cannot master himself is a slave to his desires, emotions, and the opinions of others. Without discipline, the noblest thought fades into inertia. Inner discipline is a form of love for oneself. It is the choice to act in accordance with your vision, even when no one is watching. Every morning, you wake up with a clear intention. You train yourself to direct your energy. Every time you choose effort over distraction, you build your freedom. Success is not a sudden explosion, but the silent sum of your daily decisions. Discipline is saying no to the immediate to say yes to the eternal. It is what separates those who dream from those who build. For Socrate mind, self-mastery is the key to all transformation. He who governs himself no longer needs to be governed. He does not wait for the world to give him permission to succeed. He acts, he embodies, he moves forward. Discipline is not a prison, it is an ascent. It is the victory of the spirit over weakness. Money is not the problem, it's your relationship with it. Socrate mind teaches that money is a neutral mirror. It reflects your consciousness, your self-esteem, and your energy. If you reject it, it flees from you. If you worship it, it enslaves you. But if you understand it as an extension of your creative mind, it becomes a tool of freedom. Money has no soul. It is your intention that gives it one. Those who feel unworthy of thriving unconsciously create lack. Those who understand that abundance begins in thought naturally attract opportunities. The secret is not to chase money, but to become the person who deserves it. Money follows value, and value is born from inner clarity. When you elevate yourself mentally, your material world adjusts. You stop seeking to impress. You seek to contribute. The universe always rewards those who serve authentically. Money is not an end. It is a consequence. That's why Socrate Mind invites you to ask yourself this question. What does my financial situation reflect about my inner world? If you want to change your bank account, change your belief system. Abundance is not a privilege. It is a state of mind. In a world saturated with noise, notifications, and opinions shouted louder than the others, silence has become a weapon. A rare, powerful, almost revolutionary weapon. Socrate mind teaches that silence is not an absence of sound, but a presence of awareness. As long as your mind is filled with external noises, the media, judgments, collective fear, you cannot hear your own inner voice. You cannot know what you truly want because you're overwhelmed by what others think you should want. Silence is the key to mental clarity. It is in calmness that answers are born. Every time you step away from the clamor, you return to yourself. Silence is a discipline. It teaches you to observe rather than react. It shows you that wisdom does not speak, it listens. And in this space free from agitation, you hear your intuition, that natural compass that the modern world has taught you to ignore. Socrate mind asserts that great changes never come from noise, but from deep reflection. Geniuses create in silence, strategists decide in silence, sages heal in silence. It is there that your mind regains its original power, freed from the chaos of influences. Silence reconnects you to your energy, your presence, your truth. It is there that you understand that you do not need to prove anything to the world. You realize that calmness is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of mastery. Socrate mind does not preach blind faith, but enlightened faith based on logic and self-knowledge. To believe before seeing is not to deny reality. It is to understand that every visible reality is born from an invisible idea. Everything you possess today first existed in your mind. The house, the career, the relationship, the project, everything began with a thought, a vision that you nurtured until it became tangible. Those who doubt this principle always live in reaction, never in creation. They wait to see a sign before acting, ignoring that it is inspired action that brings forth the sign. Rational faith is the inner conviction that the universe responds to your clear intention. It is not magic, it is a mental law. You emit a vibration, your thoughts, your emotions, your vision, and reality aligns with that frequency. The more stable your conviction, the faster your manifestation. But most give up before the energy has time to materialize. They doubt, change their minds, oscillate between fear and hope. Socrate mind teaches you to stabilize your mind. Conscious faith is not naive belief. It is a mental commitment. You decide that your vision is already real, even if your eyes do not see it yet. And you act with that certainty. This inner posture attracts the resources, people, and synchronicities you need. Socrate mind asserts that one of humanity's greatest mistakes is the desire to control everything. The more you try to force things, the more they resist you. Life is like a river. When you swim against the current, you exhaust yourself. Detachment is not abandonment. It is the mastery of letting go. It is knowing that you have done what was necessary and trusting the process. Detachment is that inner posture that allows energy to flow freely. You stop suffocating your desire with the fear of the outcome. You no longer seek to possess. You choose to appreciate. It is an attitude of trust, not passivity. People believe that to obtain, one must want intensely. In reality, wanting with tension tells the universe that you lack what you desire. And lack attracts lack. Detachment, on the contrary, rests on a quiet certainty. What is meant for me will come to me. This trust frees you from anxiety, makes you light, and opens the door to synchronicities. Fluidity arises from this inner peace. This is what Socrates called the balance of the soul, not being a slave to emotions, desires, or outcomes. At the end of this inner journey, Socrate mind brings you back to the fundamental truth. You are the creator of your reality. Everything you experience is merely a projection of your level of consciousness. If you want to change your life, you must elevate your mind. Creative consciousness is the understanding that your thoughts, emotions, and actions form an energetic system. Every idea you nurture becomes a cause. Every repeated emotion becomes a magnet. Every coherent action becomes a reality. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. This is why self-mastery is essential. As long as you remain a slave to fear, doubt, or anger, you manifest their reflection. But as soon as you decide to vibrate with confidence, gratitude, and clarity, life responds differently. Creative consciousness is the state of an awakened being who no longer seeks to survive, but to express. They understand that wealth, freedom, and peace are not goals, but natural consequences of inner elevation. When you embody this level, you no longer wait for the world's validation. You become the living proof of your own truth. The key is not to accumulate, but to radiate. You have nothing to prove, only to be. Creative consciousness transforms lack into abundance, fear into faith, chaos into order. It shifts you from the role of a spectator to that of an author. And this power is not reserved for a select few. It sleeps within everyone, waiting for awakening.